And welcome back to Atreyu News. Wow, Swedish war correspondent compares Sweden to Iraq. Well, we all knew this would happen with the massive influx of Muslim immigration. Uh, Most of the time, they have no intention of ever assimilating into Western civilization. People always forget that Islam was at war with the West and tried to invade Europe twice in the last millennia. What makes you think that's ever going to change? A Swedish war correspondent has stated that Iraq is safer than Sweden's capital city of Stockholm. Isn't that funny? Stockholm is the place where Stockholm Syndrome exists. You'll see white Swedish women singing Muslim prayer in the streets, even though in Islamic countries women aren't allowed to pray or to have their prayer, the song. From Express UK. And the award-winning reporter has sparked controversy, saying women are safer on the streets of Iraq than they are in Sweden. Magda Gad has been working with Mosul covering the continued threat from terrorism in the country which has been plagued by ISIS. And she says that any given weekend in her native country is much worse than any night in Iraq, as the government continues to put its head in the sand over the fall of the Governments continue to put its head in the sand over the fallout from European migrant crisis. Respondents to questions from the public, Ms. Gad said, in cities unaffected by fighting, it's very quiet and no one bothers you when you walk the streets. There's no law on the Islamic veil in Iraq, and it's safer for a lone woman to be outside than Stockholm. Yeah, because they single-handedly target jihadis to let them in. Christians are persecuted or killed on the way to Sweden if that's their destination. It's completely insane. I do find it hilarious though that Stockholm is like the worst place on earth for Stockholm Syndrome. The journalist's criticism comes after Sweden's ruling Liberal Party integration minister was forced into an embarrassing U-turn after claiming the number of reported rapes in the country was falling. Yeah, give me a break. Sweden is now the rape capital of Europe. Eva Johnson told the BBC where there is no link to crime and immigration and declared the level of rape in Sweden is going down and going down and going down. More like the intellect is going down, going down, going down. She added, the level of rapes is not actually high in Sweden. Yeah, okay. In fact, there was a 13% increase in reported sex crimes in Sweden in 2016. This idiot must get the same polls from the Hillary victory poll. Remember, 98% favored to win? Yeah, it's probably the same people doing the polling. And if they had a clue, they should probably get a new polling service. And her misleading comments were promptly rounded up by critics. Moderate Party Labour policy spokesman Elizabeth Svansson, that kind of rolls off the tongue, accused the politician of peddling fake news. She said, we don't need more fake news. In what way is the number of sex crimes decreasing? Following her claims on British TV, Johnson was then forced into a U-turn. And rightfully so. I don't understand why, it's hard for me to understand. What amount of money would cause you to turn against your own people? And then when your own people that you've grown up with are getting murdered and raped in the effing street, what the hell is wrong with these people? They're like brain dead or something. As if money and power gives you some sort of gratification from turning in your own people. What, is she taking a page out of George Soros's book? I based my answer on information that I had at the time that the number of reports of rapes went down in 2015. It was wrong of me to speak of a development that was only based on 1 year. This preliminary figure for 2016 unfortunately shows that the figures are on the rise. It's important to be correct, of course. They should just lock these people away. There's got to be some sort of slander law where if you come out and lie intentionally when you know the truth, there's got to be a law for that. The Swedish National Council for Crime Prevention stats reported by Aftonbladet said assaults had shot up by 13% in 2016. Oh, that's funny. 13%. It's got to be higher than that. Sweden has absorbed more Islamic extremists or Muslims in general. I don't even know why they call them extremists, because if you get enough Muslims in an area, the same thing always happens. But it sure is mind-blowing watching these idiots push their garbage over the rest of us. Over the past decade, there has been a rise in rapes from 4,208 in 2006 to 6,560 in 2016. And from what I understand, numbers like this don't actually resemble the true numbers, because a lot of the crimes just don't even get reported any longer. Iconic U.S. department store files for bankruptcy. Radio Shack is filing for bankruptcy and will be closing approximately 200 stores. ABC News reported, troubled electronics retailer Radio Shack has filed for bankruptcy for the second time in just over 2 years. The Fort Worth, Texas-based retailer filed its petition in bankruptcy court in Delaware on Wednesday. The company says it's closing about 200 stores and evaluating options on the remaining 1,300. In a statement, Radio Shack President and Chief Executive Officer Dean Rogers said since the company's bankruptcy filing in 2015, the retailer had made progress in stabilizing operations, including reducing operating expenses by 23%. Well, I mean, I've shopped at Radio Shack. I still don't really get why they ask for your phone number when you buy batteries, but other than that, good store. It's too bad. Well, perhaps if America starts making her own products again, maybe we won't have to watch our stores go out of business. Like, what do we even create anymore? I'm just glad Trump brought 300,000 plus jobs back to the country in just the first 30 days of office. Like, that is awesome. I look forward to the future. Wow, look what happened to illegal immigrants released from prison before their court appearance. 36% of illegal immigrants released from prison skip their court-mandated bench hearings. No surprise there. From Washington Examiner, during the last 2 years of the Obama administration, immigration officials handled the surge of youths across the border by delivering over 100,000 of them to households heated by other illegals, and the result was that 36% of the kids never showed up for court hearings. A new analysis of the prior administration's open-door policy for illegal use, mostly from Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, also showed that only 25% of those did go to court were given permission to stay. The Center for Immigration Studies, in its latest analysis of the crisis in unaccompanied alien children, said, from FY 2014 to FY 2016, 106,802 UACs were placed in illegal alien households throughout the country as a result of Obama administration policies. Approximately 13,000 of these minors skipped out of their immigration court hearings. This represents 36% of the cases completed. Of those whose cases have finished, a mere 25% have qualified for permission to stay. The Center Policy Director, Jessica Vaughn, said that the handling of the kids ended up hurting them, sometimes by delivering them into gangs and the sex trade. It certainly is a massive problem. With unchecked immigration comes the fall of civilization. These idiots that march in the street and say they want no borders, you either have borders or you don't have a country, folks. This is it. And I thank God every day that Trump had won. For there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and now it's our time to take the country back.